Nobody tells you this. After 55, silence becomes your loudest enemy. The clock ticks louder, the chair stays empty, and regret whispers that your legacy is fading. But here's the truth. You're not alone, and you're not finished. If you've ever felt this silence, stay with me, because today we talk about the battle almost every man fights, but almost no one dares to name. Nobody prepares you for the silence after 55. Not the silence of peace, not the kind you get after a long day when you finally rest. I'm talking about the heavy silence, the kind that echoes, the kind that follows you around the house and reminds you, louder than any noise, that something is missing. You wake up and the clock ticks a little too loud, the same clock that once rushed your mornings when you had deadlines, kids to drop at school, phone calls waiting for answers. Now it just ticks, second by second. Empty time. The chair at the kitchen table stays empty. Maybe it once had a child eating cereal in a rush, or your partner sharing coffee before the day began. Now it stares back at you like a reminder. People move on, life shifts, and you're left with the echo. The phone, it doesn't ring like it used to. Sometimes it vibrates, but it's just some automated message or a bank reminder. The voices you long to hear, your son, your old friends, your brother, they've all grown distant. Not because they don't care, but because everyone's busy with their own battles. And in that busyness, you slip through the cracks. No one tells you that retirement doesn't just end your work. It ends your sense of being needed. The purpose that carried you for decades, providing, building, fixing, leading, suddenly vanishes. You wake up and realize the world no longer waits for you. That's a cruel kind of silence, one that eats from the inside out. And here's the truth. If you feel this, you're not weak. You're not failing. You're not broken. You're human. Men don't talk about this. We swallow it thinking strength means carrying it alone. But I need you to hear me. You are not alone. Thousands of men your age are sitting in quiet houses, staring at empty chairs, pretending everything's fine. The silence is not your fault. It's strange, isn't it? You can live a whole life surrounded by people, building a family, fighting battles at work, being the guy everyone leaned on. And still, at 55, 60, 65, you find yourself sitting by a window at night, listening to nothing but the hum of the fridge. And that silence, it can feel like betrayal, because you gave so much, and now the world seems to give back nothing but emptiness. That's the invisible enemy, not death, not weakness, but the creeping, suffocating quiet that tells you you've been left behind. But listen carefully. If you feel this weight pressing on your chest, it doesn't mean your story is over. It means you're in the same fight countless men before you have faced. The silence doesn't define you, it's just the stage set for your next chapter. If any of this sounds like your life, leave a comment below, because another man right now needs to read that he's not the only one. Loneliness doesn't kick the door in. It slides under it like a draft you barely notice at first. A missed call here, a plan cancelled there, a Saturday morning that used to be crowded with chores and voices becomes a long hallway of quiet. You tell yourself it's fine, you've earned the rest. But days stack up, the clock sounds louder, the chair at the table stays empty more often. The window goes dark, and you're still awake, watching the reflection of a man you know but haven't spoken to in a long time. Yourself. Here's what loneliness actually does, in plain language. It wears you down, your fuse gets shorter. Little things irritate you more because there's no one around to help you release the pressure with a laugh or a quick story. Your energy dips. Not the kind of tired a nap fixes, but the heavy tired. The kind that keeps you on the couch, even when your body aches to move. Food doesn't taste as good. Sleep gets tricky, too much or too little. You wake before dawn and count the ticks of the clock, or you stay up too late staring at a glowing screen, letting the noise fill a space that conversation used to handle better. It messes with your mind too. Not in a dramatic way, more like fog on a windshield. Decisions feel harder, thoughts loop back on themselves, and the world outside the front door starts to look like a place for other people. You forget simple things. Not because you're broken, but because the brain sharpens itself on interaction, like a knife on a stone. Without the stone, even the best steel goes dull. Think of loneliness like rust on a tool left in the shed. You were built for use, for purpose, friction and weather. When you're engaged, tiny movements keep you strong. But set any tool aside long enough, and rust will find it. It doesn't matter how tough that metal once was. Alone, even the hardest steel weakens. That's not an insult. That's physics. That's life. And it's not just feelings. Your body listens to your life. When the days are quiet and the mind starts to believe it's alone in the fight, the body responds. Your shoulders tighten. Your chest can feel heavy. Your heart has to work harder under stress. Your blood pressure can creep up. Your sleep gets lighter. Your immune system gets tired of standing watch with no relief. This isn't doom. It's cause and effect. Your system evolved for tribe, for nods on the sidewalk, for hands on your shoulders, for laughter bouncing off the walls. Take that away for long enough, and the body starts sending signals. Find your people. But loneliness is clever. It tries to convince you that hiding is safer. It suggests that if you stay in your lane, no one will judge you, and you won't have to explain the ache you can't name. It tells you tomorrow will be the day you call someone, join something, fix the squeak in the door, clean out the garage. And tomorrow keeps moving. Meanwhile, the chair stays empty. The window at night becomes a mirror of the same thought. Maybe I'm the only one. Another trick of loneliness is that it changes the soundtrack of your life. The house used to sing. Kettle hissing, radio cracking jokes, footsteps going room to room. Now the loudest sounds are the hum of the fridge and the second hand of the clock. The phone lights up with alerts, but not with voices. A moth circles the porch light while you stand at the window. The TV shows other people living, other people laughing. You're not jealous. But a part of you wonders where your laughter went. And then there's regret, the silent regret that eats at legacy. It whispers that you missed something, that you should have pushed harder at work or softer at home. It replays the arguments and the moments you stayed quiet when you should have spoken, or spoke when you should have listened. Regret tells you this silence is a verdict. But listen closely, regret is a historian, not a judge. It records the past. It doesn't get to sentence your future. Loneliness turns pride into isolation if you let it. Men are trained to carry, to solve, to endure. That's good, until it becomes a wall between you and the help your own body is asking for. This isn't about pity, it's about maintenance. You change the oil in your car, you sharpen your tools. Why wouldn't you check the connections that keep your heart and mind running smooth? The good news, and it is real, practical good news, is that loneliness is not a life sentence. It responds to small, consistent moves. You don't need to wait for someone to rescue you. You can open the door yourself. Start with one thing that used to bring you a spark, a skill that made your hands confident, a song that made you hum, a task that left the good kind of tired in your muscles. When you use the tool, the rust loosens. When you move, the blood brings life back to places that went quiet. When you speak, even to the neighbor you've barely nodded to, you scrape a little more rust off. Picture this. You lace your shoes and walk to the corner. The air is cooler than the room. It wakes up your lungs. You wave at a dog walker. You stop at a local cafe, not for the coffee, you can make that at home, but for the exchange. Morning. Morning. That tiny bridge matters. It's the first blow against the silence. Or you take a class at the community center, woodworking, language, photography, not because you need a certificate, but because you need company with a purpose. Purpose plus people, that's the antidote. Loneliness also hates structure. Give your day edges. Wake up, make the bed, open the curtains, and put the chair at the table to use even if it's just you. Call someone at the same time every week, not to catch up, but to build a routine you both can lean on. Put the clock back in its place. It serves you, not the other way around. Most of all, don't confuse asking for connection with asking for rescue. You're not handing over your strength, you're activating it. Strength isn't silence. Strength is choosing the action that your pride tried to hide. It's making the first move. It's letting your body and mind do what they were built to do. Belong. If any of this has happened to you, share it in the comments. Another man needs to see he's not alone. And subscribe, because here we talk about the battles every man feels, but almost no one dares to name. The silence is real. The loneliness is heavy. The regret can feel like it's carved into your bones. But listen to me. None of this means the game is over. It just means you need to change how you play. The truth is, you can turn the tide, not by waiting for someone to knock on your door, but by choosing to open it yourself. The first step is not grand. It's not dramatic. It's small, almost invisible, but it's powerful. Start with what made you proud once. Maybe it was fixing an engine, playing the guitar, painting, building, teaching, gardening. That skill is not gone. It's just sleeping. When you pick it up again, even for 15 minutes, you send a message to yourself. I still have something to give. And you do. The second step, seek contact. Not the old gang, not the perfect friend, not the long-lost family member who may or may not call back. Start simple. The man at the cafe, the neighbor who waters his plants every morning, the group that meets at the park to walk. Even online spaces, yes, even that, can be lifelines if you use them with intention. A genuine exchange can break a day of silence. Don't underestimate it. And here's a truth most men don't hear enough. Your body is your bridge. You don't need to run marathons or lift like you did at 25. You just need movement. A walk in the cool morning air, stretching on the living room floor, a light game of pickup ball, even tending a garden. Every time your muscles move, your blood reminds your brain that life still flows. Your body is not the enemy. It's the vehicle back to connection. Think of it like this. The chair at the kitchen table doesn't have to stay empty. Maybe tonight you call someone and invite them over for coffee. Maybe tomorrow you take your book to a public bench instead of reading alone. The clock that once mocked you with its ticking, flip it on its head, set an alarm not for work, but for life. At 10 a.m., I walk. At 2 p.m., I call. Structure is not a prison. It's scaffolding to build the next chapter. And hear this carefully. This is not weakness. This is not asking for help. This is claiming your strength back. A man who takes action against silence is not a burden. He is proof that resilience is real. You're not crawling back to life. You're leading yourself into it. Don't let the silent regret rewrite your legacy. Your legacy is not the house, the money, the trophies on the wall. Your legacy is how you face this moment, how you choose to live now. Every step you take, every connection you make, every laugh you share from this point forward adds to your story. And the story isn't done. Loneliness is strong, yes. But you are stronger. Strong enough to admit it's there. Strong enough to fight back with action, not excuses. Strong enough to turn the tide. The first step? Don't pretend the silence doesn't exist. Name it, face it, and then one move at a time, break it. If you felt this, if you fought this, share your story in the comments. Because another man needs to see your words and know he's not fighting alone. And subscribe, because here we face the invisible battles men carry together. If you're still watching this, it means something inside you knows the silence I've been talking about. Maybe you've felt it in your own house, the chair that never gets used, the phone that never rings, the nights where the only sound is the clock ticking. And maybe you've asked yourself in the quiet, is this all that's left? I want you to hear me now as if we were sitting face to face. No, this is not the end. Silence is not your destiny. It's just the test. The men who came before you faced it too, and the men watching this right now are carrying it with you. You are not broken, you are not forgotten, and you are not alone. The legacy you leave is not about money, not about what's hanging on the wall, not about the title you once carried at work. Your legacy is how you fight back against the silence, how you choose to keep living even when the world grows quiet. That's strength, that's courage, that's manhood. So I'm asking you, don't keep this battle a secret anymore. Leave a comment, even if it's just one line, yes, I know this silence. Because when you do, another man reading will realize he's not the only one. That's how the fight begins, not alone, but together. And if this message spoke to you, subscribe. Because here, we don't sugarcoat life. We talk about the battles men face when the world stops talking back. We face them with honesty, with courage, and with each other. Remember this, loneliness is strong, but you are stronger. The first step to winning is simple. Don't pretend it's not there. Face it, speak it, and then, step by step, break it. Your story is not over. It's just waiting for you to write the next chapter.